Okay, so hello again. It's been a while since I have done any videos, but I'm back, and today's video is all about Batman villains. Not all of them, because there are way too many to do all of them in one video. But here are three of them, and my interpretation and the style, I guess. So the first villain I am doing for this video is the Joker, because he is usually considered Batman's most infamous rogue, and he is also usually considered his arch nemesis and all that jazz, so it just made sense to start off with him. I'm not gonna argue against the fact that he is usually considered Batman's arch nemesis. He's not my all-time favorite, and I sometimes think writers are using him a bit too much. It just seems not as creative anymore to use him for stories. It's like, oh, we got a new Batman-related thing, and the Joker is going to be in it as the main villain. And it's like, oh, wow, how great. I can't believe it. Batman has so many bad guys you can pick from. Why is this clown the only one who gets any attention from the DC writers? Explain. I get why. He's a money cow. He's marketable. People like him. I get it. You guys don't need to explain that in the comments. Speaking of clowns, I wanted this version of Joker to be very colorful, very extra, I guess, because I feel like he is supposed to be a clown. And I feel like some writers kind of forget that sometimes, because they just don't make him funny. I don't know why. It seems like an obvious thing to do for him. He's the clown prince of crime. Why are you not making him funny? I feel like an ideal version of Joker in my book is a good combination between being creepy and funny. But if I had to pick, it's the writer is you either have to have funny Joker or creepy Joker. I'd probably be funny Joker, because I feel like creepy Joker has been way too much in these days. I'm tired of him. So yeah, I would much rather have him be funny than scary. I enjoy the Lego Batman movie version of the character way more than I do the Suicide Squad Joker. In the Lego version, he's just a silly little guy, and I love him. I want the best for him. And Suicide Squad Joker is just a creepy weirdo that has an awkward laugh, awful tattoos, and is played by a hack method actor. There's nothing for me to like. For me, if you like him, good for you, I guess. I feel like Wonder Writers are leaning way too much on the creepy factor of the Joker. He just comes across way more of an edgelord that is trying way too hard. And also, to be fair, I feel like a lot of the other rogues has also gotten that treatment in the past, so he's not unique. I don't know. I hate villains who's trying way too hard to come across like the writers going, ooh, look at this guy, he's so messed up in the head, oh, he's so fucked up, and I'm like, okay. Yeah, so the origin I will have for him in my version, I still definitely would have the falling into a vat of chemicals that bleached his skin and made his hair green somehow. I feel like if I were to draw this character again with this design, like kind of like a continuation, I feel like I would probably make his skin a bit more uneven and his hair not as bright green. Like, I definitely think that when it's like very bright green like it is in the drawings, it's definitely him like coloring it to look good. Like he just walked out of a stereotypical art class. I feel like in the last school I went to, it was at least like 4 people who had green hair, so he would fit perfectly in there, if I'm being honest. I feel like in the Arkham version I would have like sort of like roots showing where you kind of see more of the natural hair color he has. That's still not like natural. I still think it's like greenish. There's just like more like the disgusting green color, like, you know, like the sort of green color like some blonde people get when they are bathing in like chlorine water for way too long. Like, I don't think any of the designs I'm doing in this video are definitive. Like, I'm like, yeah, I am done. I am never going to redesign them in any point in the future. I definitely will. It is just like a starting point, like where I sort of experiment with different stuff, and this is also mostly for fun for me and a massive excuse for my end to just ramble about Batman, rogues and comics for like 20 minutes ish. So now it's your guys' problem. I'm sorry. Maybe this is mildly entertaining for you guys. So the next character I am doing is Catwoman. And I can hear some of you already go, but Catwoman, she isn't a bad guy. And like, she's more of an anti-hero, or just a full-on hero most of the time. Okay, I hear you. But like, originally, she was a villain. And I feel like she has been villains in enough stuff for me to still consider her like a Batman rogue. Like, I still think like if in my version she would be more of an anti-hero, but you know, maybe like in the start she's more of a villain, and then later on she learns to be more heroic, you know, having like an arc, because those are very fun, and comics seems to be allergic to those things. Like, with comics, it's like, you can't do anything that is too much against the status quo. Like, it's like the reason why Batman has somehow had like 4 Robins in like current runs of Batman, but he's still supposed to be like 35, which is ridiculous. Like, no. How does that happen? I am very confused. Like, he must at least be 45, like at the very least. Or you have Spider-Man sell his marriage to Satan just to keep the status quo, you guys. Anyways, stop ranting about comic book industry, and let's go back to Selina Kyle. I find it very weird in the Catwoman movie they changed her name to Patience or something stupid like that. It's like, I don't know why you wouldn't make a Catwoman movie about Selina Kyle. Like, it's so weird. For like origin stuff for her, I definitely think that she would be like I don't think she would grow up rich. I've seen versions of that, but I think she's more like more from a low income childhood, especially compared to Bruce Wayne. But I feel like everyone looks like they come from a low income childhood compared to him. And like, she's probably always had to fend for herself and feel alone in this universe and all that jazz. I don't think she's like a downer character though. I still think like she is fun. Like, I love the Bat-Cat dynamic when he's like very deadpan and kind of serious on the job, and she's just teasing him all the time and just having a good time. I really like that dynamic for them. The things I would change with her design so far is probably her outfit. I feel like it's a bit too boring for my taste. I would probably add a bit more color and variation to it. So that's probably going to be changed in the future. I also wanted her belt to have more stuff on it, like I was just gonna say thieves' tools. That's not what they're called. D&D is in my mind forever and ever. Captain would definitely be a rogue though, I feel like. That'd be a fun thing. What would all the Batman rogues D&D class would be. But anyway, I probably will change her face a bit. I'm not entirely in love with it, but this is just a start for something. So yeah, let's go to the last rogue, shall we? So the last rogue I am doing for this video is the Riddler, who has gotten a lot more attention lately because of the new Matt Reeves movie, where he is played by Paul Dano, and which I'm not going to complain about because Riddler is like my second favorite Batman rogue, so it's very fun to see him get more attention and probably more content in the future. Of course, it's also like the double-sided coin, and maybe some of that content is going to suck, but I'm going to live in joy as long as the content I'm getting is good. So I just think Riddler's a fun villain. I always love a good villain who is able to challenge a hero on a more intellectual level, more than just getting punched in the face sort of level. And he does get punched in the face a lot. It's sort of the Batman thing to do. But Batman has to solve all those riddles to get that opportunity. I understand. I have played the Arkham games. I had to do the same to get the opportunity to punch him too. Speaking of different versions, I think my biggest pet peeve when it comes to some versions of Riddler is when the writers just make him a delusional idiot who thinks he is smart, but he's just like average at best or some shit like that. Because I feel like with these versions, it never really comes from a place where the writer wants to make him interesting. It just seems to come from a place where the writers just don't like him as a character and think he is lame, which I can't have. I just, like, what do you not like about him? So definitely, if I was in charge to write for him, I would definitely have him be a proper genius, but perhaps a genius who has never gotten praise for it, or people really underestimate him for some reasons. Like, I feel like before he becomes a Riddler, he was kind of like a nobody, like kind of working this not that important job. No one really pays attention to him, and he just wants that. He craves that. He wants to be known as Gotham's smartest man, the smartest guy who lives in Gotham. And how do you do that? You don't win an important Nobel Prize or something like that. You go up and beat the man who dressed up as a rodent who fights criminals. It makes perfect sense. Like, you do you. He definitely needs therapy. And maybe one day when Arkham Asylum gets like a massive revamp, he can get that. Arkham Asylum is such a shitty place. I'm like, how long can this go before someone just forcibly shut this place down? Also something else I'll probably add to his character that isn't really shown in these drawings, but it's one of those things I can add later in a future design for him, is that I imagine he's more tech savvy than the other rogues. Like, especially like, I don't think he was like in the 40s and whatever, but he seems to be a thing that has become more modern with the character, which I'm not against. either. I feel like a lot of the villains of Batman are either like scientists, doctors, combination of both, and it's like not a lot of them are that like more on the tech savvy side, and I feel like it makes sense for him to be that. Like you need to be a bit smart to understand technology. I sure think so. I barely know how my computer works 90% of the time. And it also makes like how we can make good traps for people, and like I don't think it makes sense for Riddler to be like a scientist type like he was in Batman Forever. It was a very weird choice alongside that awful buzz cut he has in the movie. I I don't know why he just didn't keep the hair like he had in the beginning of the movie. Like maybe I'm a bit biased because it's basically the same hairstyle I gave him in my version. Or just don't color it that awful red color. Why? I don't. But honestly, my biggest issue with Batman Forever's version of Riddler is that the riddle part seemed to be like such an afterthought for the writers. It just didn't really seem to impact the plot a lot. Like you could just cut it out of the movie and nothing would have really changed. Kind of like Two-Face's coin. The more I think about it, it's like they just didn't care about who these characters were in the comics, and it's, you know, annoying. I don't know. It's been a while since I've watched Batman Forever. Maybe I will enjoy it more this time. Anyway, this is the end of this video. Like and subscribe if you enjoyed it. Follow me on my other social media platforms that's in the description. And next week I will do a part 2 of this with more villains. So goodbye, and I hope to see you again.